hustlers, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. If you're coming across my page for the first time, welcome. We talk all things personal finance, self-development and some entrepreneurship, so click the subscribe button if that is right up your alley. So as you guys can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be sharing a Zanzibar cost breakdown. I traveled to Zanzibar for my 30th birthday back in November, and I shared a little bit on my Instagram and asked you guys if you'd be interested in a cost breakdown, and a lot of you guys said yes. So we're going to be chatting about that today. I'm going to be sharing the costs. I'm going to be telling you guys some things to look out for or be aware of if you are traveling to Zanzibar. Some things that we learned as well, since this was our first international trip as a group, the guide that we used for the trip, and also I'll share with you guys a place where you can save your money collectively as a group if you are thinking of maybe traveling with your friends, maybe saving money for Zanzibar or another place, and you don't know where you guys would save your money or put it away. I have just the platform to share with you guys, so stick around if you want to get all of that information. So first things first, the planning, right? I planned the trip. I did everything from the planning, the booking, literally everything that has to do with the trip. I did that. So we started saving and planning from the trip in January, and we traveled in November. So I used Canva. I'm going to share with you guys, there's a link down below with the link of the template that I used to help me plan on Canva. I also even planned my outfits. I'm just a chronic planner, so I plan my outfits as well using a template on Canva. You can find that down below in the link as well. And yeah, so that's what basically I used. So the planning part of the trip was basically, we decided we wanted to go to Zanzibar. I presented it to my girls to say, let's take a travel trip. I'm turning 30, I want to travel, and basically Zanzibar was one of the places we were looking at because it is quite cost friendly or budget friendly, or you can make it work within a certain type of budget, and it's a really beautiful place to travel to. So that's kind of how we decided on Zanzibar. And then in terms of budget and how much we wanted to spend, we knew that we wanted it to be as budget friendly as possible, but also get out a really beautiful and exciting experience out of the whole thing without breaking the bank. When I spoke to the girls earlier this year, I was saying roughly a budget of about 30,000 for everything, but obviously with option to reduce this and keep it low. But I felt like there was more the safer amount to work around, especially since this was my first time organizing and planning a trip of this magnitude, and also with other people. I just didn't want to get people on board and then tell them it's X amount of money, whatever it is. If I said upfront the budget is this amount, then people could kind of fit in and decide if they could or they couldn't come on the trip. So that's essentially the planning part. And then around things like flights and all of that, we knew that we wanted to travel around our birthdays. So my best friend and I are born days apart. She's born on the 5th of November, I'm born on the 7th of November. So we knew that it had to be around that week. So that's kind of the timing. So we weren't looking at booking it at another time. We wanted to book specifically for that week. In terms of number of days, I proposed we travel a bit longer. Then I realized it was just going to be unnecessary and too expensive. So we traveled for 5 days. We traveled on Monday, the 4th of November, and we returned Saturday, the 9th of November, I think it is. I'm going to put on the screen the actual dates that we traveled. So that's kind of how we were going around traveling and booking things, was centered around those dates. So now let's get into costs. How much did it cost us to travel? So the first part of the cost breakdown I'm going to give you is the flights. So 3 of us were traveling from Durban, and one of the girls in the group was already in Joburg, so she was just obviously going to drive to the airport or Tambo. So the 3 of us that traveled from Durban was myself, my sister, and one of my best friends, Nomonde, and then Boniwe, my other best friend, who's also the birthday girl, on the trip, was traveling from Pretoria. So I'm going to share the first perspective from what I spent and what we spent traveling from Durban. But if you're someone who is maybe already living in Joburg, you can just kind of exclude those amounts if you are calculating or using it as a base of how much to save for the trip. So I've got my laptop here, and I'm gonna just be looking at it to confirm some of the figures. So the flight from Joburg, from Durban to Joburg on the 4th of November was 997 Rand. Then the flight to Zanzibar, we used Kenya to travel, and the flight to Zanzibar was 9,895 Rand 50. So we flew from OR Tambo to Kenya, Nairobi, then we connected from Kenya to Tanzania, Zanzibar, and landed there. And then the flight coming back, we also traveled the same way, so from Tanzania, Zanzibar to Nairobi, Kenya back to OR Tambo in Johannesburg. For that travel, the total was 9,895 Rand 50. And then we had to obviously travel back, the Durban girlies, from Joburg to Durban back again. So that flight was actually cheaper than going. It was 936 Rand 44. So in total for flights, if you're traveling from Durban, we spent 11,828 Rand 94 in total for our flights from Durban and all the way to Zanzibar and back. Next on the list is our accommodation. Now, when we were going into this, we didn't really have a budget of how much in total we wanted to spend on accommodation. Our thing was just finding the best, obviously, price, the best location, or a place that was beautiful, that looked really nice, and a place that we'd enjoy. And then the third thing was finding a place that would be all inclusive. So when I was booking, I used booking.com to book our accommodation. When I filtered for all inclusive resorts or places around Zanzibar, that really narrowed down our list. The reason for us choosing an all-inclusive place was that it was just the best way to manage our accommodation and our food and our drinks budget whilst we were on our trip. Why I say this is that if we weren't at a place that was all-inclusive, we would have ended up spending more, obviously, on food and drinks and catering for those things. It just made things much easier for us to go for a resort that was all-inclusive. We didn't need to worry about the bill at the end of our stay on our food and our drinks. Everything we ate and everything we consumed was within the all-inclusive package, and I would highly suggest you guys go for that option if you are considering traveling. Having an all-inclusive place is just such a great peace of mind. The food was really great. The drinks menu was also quite wide, like there was a nice wide range. I think because they do know that a lot of people, or it was catered because a lot of people travel and go there on an all-inclusive type of situation. So for us, that was our deciding factor on picking a place. There are a lot of places to choose from, but I think choosing and looking for an all-inclusive place really narrowed things down. And also when we were considering traveling, I was doing a lot of research on TikTok and just seeing people's experiences and travel videos, and quite a few people were sharing their experience around the place that we ended up picking, which was Paradise Beach Resort, is the resort that we ended up going to. I'll leave the link down below if you guys want to check it out, but I really enjoyed it. The resort is phenomenal. The pictures don't do it justice. The pictures on booking.com don't do it justice at all. I will leave the link to the Zanzibar vlog down below as well. The vlog will kind of show you guys more in depth how the resort was, what it looked like. I did a little room tour and all of that, so you guys can get to see as well and get to experience it through our eyes. But it was really beautiful. So that was kind of the deciding factor for us. We weren't really set on like a location or anything. We just knew we wanted to be in Zanzibar and we would make it work around the location. So the cost for the accommodation, which remember is an all-inclusive, meaning breakfast is included, lunch is included, dinner is included, and then our drinks. Obviously select drinks from the all-inclusive menu. So that came to 7,379 Rand and 50 cents for Monday. So we arrived on Monday evening. So Monday, full day Tuesday, full day Wednesday, full day Thursday, full day Friday, and then we flew out. So it's essentially 6 days, so 5 nights and 6 days, 5 nights in total. So that was really a great thing. So the total there was 7,379 Rand and 50 cents. And then the other thing that came to our accommodation was the taxes that we had to pay. And so the Paradise Beach Resort taxes amounted to 2,663 in total, but per person we spent 665 Rand 75. It comes to about 75, no I'm lying, it comes to about like $15 or something like that per person each day that you're at the resort. So that ended up being that 665 Rand and 75 cents. Right, so when I planned the trip and we were deciding on activities and things to do and obviously all of that, we've never traveled there, so we knew we needed a guide or someone to help us. I found him on TikTok as well. His details are down below. The best guide, absolutely the best guide. I will rave about him forever. He was really amazing. His name is Shamus. I found him on TikTok as well, and he took great care of us, and he's got different packages. And because we were thinking of traveling for longer, the packages that he had would suit the days that we traveled. But very honestly, I'm glad of how we did things. So the Monday, the 4th of November, was a full travel day for us. So we traveled the entire day. We arrived in the evening around 9ish at our resort. So that day for us was already out. And then the Saturday coming back, we knew there was a travel day. And then in between, we had to obviously find some activities and fun things to do. There were certain activities that were like, we're not really interested. For example, the Jazani forest, I think it is. We were like, we don't really care for going to a forest and getting bitten by stuff or whatever. Like, it's okay. We didn't do the spice farm either. So us picking lesser activities also obviously reduced our total guide fee and expenses around that. But the total for our tour guide and activities was $200 per person for the activities that we did, and that came to about 3,551 rand per person. That was kind of the budget, but it ended up being 3,886 rand and 68. And I'll explain to you guys why that difference was there. So our tour guide per person in total was 3,886 rand 68. And this is what we did when it comes to the activities and what that price included. So the tour guide fees, we did activities on 2 of the days that we traveled, and then 2 of the days that we were there, we spent at the resort chilling and enjoying our all-inclusive package. So we traveled the Monday. That was a full travel day. Then the second day was Boniwa's birthday, the 5th of November, and we did Prison Island. So we went to Prison Island, we did the Nakupenda Sandbank, and we did the Stonetown city tour. And we enjoyed a seafood lunch at the Nakupenda Sandbank, which was provided by our guide Shamus. So his cost includes picking us up from the airport. It included the trip to Prison Island, the Nakupenda Sandbank, the city tour, and also the lunch, the seafood lunch at the Nakupenda Sandbank. And then another thing that we did was on my birthday, we did an activity which was going to Mnemba Island, chasing the dolphins, which was such a great experience. Feeding the turtles, and then we had a sunset cruise to end the day on my birthday. So that was what the 3,000 total cost went to, and that was, oh guys, I am so glad we did it that way, because the Monday was a full travel day. We were exhausted on Boniwa's birthday, as much as we did the activities, but it was a really long day. We were really tired. And then the Wednesday we spent at the resort chilling, enjoying our our all-inclusive resort, chilling by the pool, swimming, reading, sleeping, just anything. And then we were well rested for the activities on my birthday that we did on the Wednesday. So I think if you are going to be doing that or planning a trip, maybe try and space out your activities and give yourself enough time to rest, replenish, and be ready, because it is tiring. It is very hot in Zanzibar, so you will feel very hot, tired. It's just better. We found that it was better. And then the day before we flew out, we spent that day at the resort resting, relaxing, and getting ready for the trip back home. And because the resort was really stunning and beautiful, it didn't feel like we were missing out on any activities. We actually preferred being on the resort and resting and replenishing. And it is a vacation and a holiday, and what you want to do is chilling by the pool, enjoying a drink, a cocktail, chilling with your girls, reading, napping, whatever it is. So that was really amazing, and we loved that experience. Then another cost was on my birthday, because we were out for the day. We did the Mnemba Island, chasing the turtles. We went chasing the dolphins. We went feeding the turtles, and then before our sunset cruise we had lunch, and and the lunch that we had was at a beach restaurant. I forgot what it's called, but I'll insert the name somewhere here. And that lunch was for you to gain entry into the place, you have to get like a card that gives you entry, and on the card there's like some credit that they put on there. And so the credit that we put on was 1,033 rand and 48 cents in total for all of us. So that ended up coming to about 258 rand 37 cents each person. And that was the lunch. Our lunch included drinks and food. It was really great, and like a nice treat before going on to the sunset cruise, which was beautiful. One of the best birthdays I've ever had. Now the next thing on the list is the insurance. Now guys, I want you to listen very carefully. Before, when you were traveling to Zanzibar, you could get your own insurance and that would be accepted and allowed. But then in October, Zanzibar, I think end of September, beginning of October, Zanzibar changed their laws, and you now were required to get their own in-house insurance, which we knew about but didn't really like focus and remember. I remember my sister posted it on our WhatsApp group that we had, and she was like, guys, there's this new rule, whatever, and we're like, okay, we'll look into it. And I don't know what happened, but we completely lost foresight of it and we forgot. And when we arrived, they didn't accept the insurance that we had. So the insurance that we got, I forgot the company, but it was, you know, our own in-house one from South Africa that we got that would cover us on the trip in case something happened to any of us. Maybe we need a medical insurance, some liability and all of that. It would cover and have each of us insured. So they were like, nah, you need to get our own in-house Zanzibar insurance before we can allow you to enter the country. And they check this at the airport as you arrive. On arrivals, they all check the insurance, and then only once you have this insurance you'll be allowed to come in. And that was our biggest mishap. Imagine we've traveled all day, we are exhausted, we've arrived at night at around 8 p.m. we get there and they're like, we don't accept this insurance. Yeah, so for you guys to avoid this, definitely get the insurance that they require in Tanzania to save you guys money. Then another cost that we incurred was traveling back to the airport. We used our tour guide Shamus, and this cost us $41. This cost us $41 in total, which is around 758 rand and 72 cents in total. So that comes to around 189 rand and 68 cents per person. So that is essentially the total cost of what we incurred on the trip. Then extra money on the side for buying souvenirs and items and stuff, that's up to you and personally what you want to spend. I didn't include this in here because all of us spent, but I did buy my husband something, I bought my mom something, and I bought my son something. I think in total for all like 3 of those gifts, and I got myself something as well, like a fridge magnet and something else. I think in total I spent like less than 1,000 rand. I think in total it was like 800-900 rand for all of those gifts. So if you want to, definitely have that on hand. So the total cost for all of this, for the whole trip, if you were someone who was traveling from Durban, as I mentioned, would have cost you 24,733 rand and 12 cents for the full entire trip. That is quite affordable and manageable, if according to me. I think it was a really great trip. It was really well rounded. We had so much fun. We enjoyed ourselves, even with the mishap of the insurance, even with some of the mishaps we encountered getting to Zanzibar. We almost missed our flights, but we really didn't. One thing about Kenyan Airlines is that when we're doing our research, people kept saying that Kenyan Airlines doesn't keep time, they're always late. With us, it was the complete opposite. They were on time. So much so that our flights leaving OR Tambo to Kenya was actually earlier. The boarding gate closed earlier, and that's kind of how we almost got into the situation where we were missing our flight. So that was really like a big shocker for us, especially because of the reviews that everyone was sharing on how late they are and how always delayed they are. I think that also kind of made us relax a bit. Now, where to save? Especially if you're traveling as a group. This is where I whip up my phone and I introduce you guys to Franc. You guys have heard me speak about this platform before. You know, you guys are not new to it. And And Franc is a really great platform to use if you're wanting to save money collectively as a group of people, because it's got this function or feature called shared goals. Now, what is shared goals? Shared goals allows you to save collectively as a group of people, maybe a group of friends, on a specific goal. And what this is nice about is that it gives visibility for everyone on the group. So everyone will have to obviously download the app and have the app on the phone, but only one person can be admin. And please read the T's and C's when it comes to being admin of the group, especially when it comes to the tax implications and all of that, because the amount will be on your actual account. But when people now are depositing money into this account, they all use the same reference so that it's allocated correctly to that person's account, and then the admin would then allocate that money to the shared group. You all get visibility on the shared group, and the nice thing about it is that you can set it up easily on the app, and I'll take you guys through the process. So what you would do, you would go on your profile, you'd say create shared goal, you'd say create a shared goal, and then you can say what is a shared goal. So they explain what it is, they explain how it works, and then you move on, and then you would call the shared goal maybe Zanzibar holiday if you are planning to go to Zanzibar. And then you would select the people, you would add the members, and then you would set a target. So you would say, for us, the total that we spent was around 25,000 a person. So if there's 4 of you guys, that's 100k, which would be the target to save. And then you'd set a set by date. So what we did things in chunks. The first thing we saved for was our Zanzibar flights. So obviously once you've booked a flight, it kind of commits us to leaving, and so we booked our flights in May, June. I think in June we booked our flights. That committed us to the trip. So we knew that everyone would have had to have contributed that total amount for our flights, and we just kept tracking the flight prices and all of that, and the dips and all of that, and then we bought our flights. And then after our flights, we then focused on paying for our accommodation. Our tour guide wanted his cash on hand, so there wasn't a pressure to have that money up front. We just had to make sure that we had the $800 with us when we were traveling to hand it over to him. So yeah, so I know the trip. So by October, we had booked our flights, we had paid for our accommodation. The only thing that was like sort of still pending was our tour guide fees, but I think everyone stopped contributing in September, or in October. The last contributions came in October, no, September, sorry, September. By October, everything was done, everyone was done, you know, contributing. So maybe you can give yourselves that type of timeline if you're wanting to travel in November. So I would say here October 2025, you'd set the date, and then you can choose how safe you want the savings to be. So very safe, I would highly suggest the very safe option, because then it preserves your capital. So you are rather saving this money instead of investing it, and just knowing that the risk is low, and you're not going to be privy to or exposed to stock market fluctuations, especially if you opt to invest. Rather save this money. So then you would select the very safe option, and then would kind of calculate how much per month each person needs to be contributing to make this goal work. By the total number of people on the goal, it will split it amongst equally, and then you can choose either you want to do monthly, weekly, annually, or once off. Monthly is obviously the better option, because then you can contribute towards this monthly. And then once you're done with that, then you have your goal summary, and you can confirm this. But yeah, Zanzibar is really beautiful. I enjoyed it. I would definitely suggest and recommend anyone to travel there if they've never been. It is a beautiful place, just beautiful people, beautiful vibes. It's really relatively safe. People are very respectful. There were certain instances where you were like, we're not too comfortable, but we get it because it is a tourist country, so people will come up and offer you stuff to buy and all of that stuff. But it's actually okay. If you say no, they leave you alone. And yeah, so that was it. If you guys have any questions around the trip or anything like that, I will leave all the details and information on where we stayed, our tour guide, and all of that in the description below. And obviously the Franc app, if you've never downloaded it before, there's a link down below, or alternatively you can use my referral code. But yeah, really enjoyed the trip. I will leave the link also to the vlog if you want to check out our experience and how much fun we got up to. Definitely check that out as well. But as always guys, keep hustling, and I'll catch you catch you on my next video. Bye.